First contact. Dr. Samantha Chen squinted at the flickering monitor, her eyes burning from hours of unblinking focus. The radio telescope array sprawled across the Chilean desert behind her, its massive dishes pointed skyward in an eternal vigil. For years, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, SETI, program had scanned the cosmos, hoping for a whisper from the stars. Tonight, that whisper had become a shout. "Holy shit," she breathed, her fingers flying across the keyboard. "This can't be right." But the data didn't lie. The signal pulsed with an undeniable rhythm, a complex pattern that defied natural explanation. It was coming from somewhere in the vicinity of Alpha Centauri, Earth's closest stellar neighbor. Samantha's colleague, Dr. Raj Patel, peered over her shoulder. "Sam, what are you seeing?" She pointed to the screen, her hand trembling slightly. "Raj, I think we just made first contact." Within hours, the news had spread like wildfire. Emergency meetings were called in capitals around the world. The United Nations Security Council convened in a closed-door session. Social media exploded with theories, hopes, and fears. In Washington, D.C., President Elena Reyes sat at the head of a long table in the Situation Room, surrounded by her top advisors and military brass. The tension in the air was palpable. "What do we know?" Reyes asked, her voice steady despite the weight of history pressing down on her shoulders. General Marcus Hawthorne, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, cleared his throat. "Madam President, the signal appears to be a repeating message. Our best cryptographers are working on decoding it, but initial analysis suggests it contains mathematical constants and what might be simple pictograms. Any signs of aggression?" Reyes pressed. "None that we can detect," Hawthorne replied. "But we're maintaining heightened alert status for all our defensive systems, just in case." Dr. Evelyn Rosenberg, the president's science advisor, spoke up. "Madam President, I believe we should respond. This could be the greatest opportunity in human history. We can't afford to remain silent." Reyes nodded slowly, considering the implications. "And if we do respond, what do we say? How do we represent all of humanity in a single message?" The room fell silent as the enormity of the question sank in. Thousands of miles away, in a nondescript office building in Geneva, another crucial meeting was taking place. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, Director General of CERN, addressed a hastily assembled group of the world's top physicists and engineers. "Ladies and gentlemen," Tanaka began, her voice filled with barely contained excitement, "we have been tasked with a monumental challenge. The United Nations has requested our assistance in constructing a device capable of transmitting a response to our alien visitors." Murmurs rippled through the room as Tanaka continued. "We'll be working around the clock, combining our knowledge of particle physics, quantum mechanics, and advanced engineering. Our goal is to create a communication array powerful enough to reach Alpha Centauri with minimal signal degradation." As the scientists began to brainstorm, bouncing ideas off each other with feverish intensity, a young researcher named Zara Okafor raised her hand. "Dr. Tanaka, what if we could do more than just send a message? What if we could open a direct channel of communication?" Tanaka's eyebrows shot up. "Go on, Dr. Okafor." Zara stood, her voice gaining confidence as she spoke. "We've been experimenting with quantum entanglement for years. What if we could use it to create a form of instantaneous, superluminal communication? It's theoretical, of course, but if we could entangle particles here on Earth with counterparts sent towards Alpha Centauri." The room erupted in a mix of skepticism and excitement. Tanaka held up a hand for silence. "It's ambitious, Dr. Okafor. Perhaps too ambitious. But given the stakes, let's put together a team to explore the possibility." As humanity grappled with the implications of first contact, strange events began to unfold across the globe. In the Amazon rainforest, indigenous tribes reported seeing mysterious lights in the sky. Off the coast of Japan, fishermen witnessed the ocean glowing with an eerie, pulsating radiance. And in the dusty markets of Marrakesh, Street vendors swore that their compasses had gone haywire, spinning wildly before pointing to the stars. Social media was ablaze with speculation. Hashtags like #AlienVisitors and #CosmicAwakening trended worldwide. Religious leaders offered conflicting interpretations, some hailing the signal as a divine message, others warning of demonic deception. Conspiracy theorists had a field day, their wildest fantasies seemingly validated overnight. In orbit above the Earth, astronauts aboard the International Space Station kept a vigilant watch. Colonel Sarah Jung peered out of the cupola, her eyes scanning the inky blackness of space. "Mission Control, this is ISS," she radioed. "No visual contact with any unidentified objects. All systems nominal." "Copy that, ISS," came the reply from Houston. "Keep your eyes peeled. We've got every telescope on the planet pointed at Alpha Centauri. But if our visitors decide to drop by, you might be the first to know." Zhang nodded. Even though no one could see her, she'd trained her entire life for moments of crisis, but nothing could have prepared her for this. As she gazed at the fragile blue marble of Earth below, she couldn't help but wonder, how would humanity's role in the cosmos change after today? Back on the ground, in a secure facility deep beneath the Nevada desert, a team of linguists and cryptographers worked tirelessly to decipher the alien message. Dr. Gabriel Reyes, no relation to the president, pored over the data, his eyes red-rimmed from lack of sleep. "The structure is unlike anything we've ever seen," he muttered to his colleague, Dr. Aisha Maki. "It's not based on any known mathematical or linguistic patterns." Aisha nodded, rubbing her temples. "It's as if they're not just trying to communicate information, but an entirely new way of thinking. Look at these recurring symbols. They don't seem to represent objects or concepts, but processes, relationships between ideas." Gabriel leaned in, his excitement growing. "You're right. It's not a language in the way we understand it. It's a protocol, a set of rules for communication itself." As they delved deeper into the alien message, a chilling realization began to dawn. The signal wasn't just a greeting or an invitation for dialogue. It was a warning. Across the globe, tensions mounted as governments struggled to maintain order. Stock markets plummeted, then surged as investors tried to predict the economic impact of alien contact. Religious pilgrims flocked to sites of supposed significance, while doomsday preppers retreated to their bunkers. In orbit, Colonel Jung's voice crackled over the radio. "Mission Control, we got something. There's a structure appearing near the L1 Lagrange point." The world held its breath as grainy images began to circulate online. A massive, geometrically perfect sphere had materialized between the Earth and the Moon. Its surface shimmered with an opalescent sheen, defying easy classification. As telescopes and sensors from every space agency on the planet focused on the alien object, a new signal emanated from its surface. This one was different, clearer, stronger, and directed specifically at Earth. In Washington, President Reyes reconvened her crisis team. "What are we dealing with?" she demanded. Dr. Rosenberg's face was pale as she reported, "Madam President, the new signal. It's an ultimatum. The sphere appears to be some kind of automated embassy or proxy. It's demanding that we send a single representative to meet with it within 24 hours. General Hawthorne interjected, "This could be a trap. We can't risk sending anyone until we know more about their intentions." Reyes held up a hand, silencing the room. "And if we refuse?" Rosenberg swallowed hard. "The message is clear on that point, Madam President. If we don't comply, they'll consider humanity hostile and take appropriate action." A heavy silence fell over the Situation Room. The fate of the entire human race now hinged on a single decision. Reyes stood, her face a mask of determination. "Get me the UN Secretary General. We need to choose our envoy, and we need to do it now. Humanity's first step into the galactic community may well be its last, if we don't get this right." As the world leaders debated, scientists scrambled, and civilians watched the skies with a mixture of hope and fear. One thing became abundantly clear. The universe had taken notice of Earth, and nothing would ever be the same again. In the depths of space, unbeknownst to humanity, other eyes watched with keen interest. The game of cosmic politics was about to gain a new player, and the balance of power in the galaxy hung in the balance. Earth's trial by fire had only just begun. The cosmic chess game. The sleek shuttle glided silently through the vacuum of space, its destination the enigmatic sphere hovering at the L1 Lagrange point. Inside, Dr. Samantha Chen gripped the armrests of her seat, her heart pounding. She still couldn't believe she had been chosen as humanity's representative. The selection process had been grueling. After hours of heated debate, the United Nations Security Council had agreed that their envoy needed to be a scientist, someone capable of understanding and responding to advanced technological concepts. But they also needed a skilled communicator, someone who could navigate the treacherous waters of interspecies diplomacy. Samantha fit the bill perfectly. Her groundbreaking work in xenolinguistics and her role in first detecting the alien signal made her the ideal candidate. But as the shuttle approached the massive alien structure, she couldn't help but wonder if she was truly prepared for what lay ahead. Dr. Chen, we're beginning docking procedures now. The pilot's voice crackled over the intercom. Are you ready? Samantha took a deep breath. As ready as I'll ever be, she replied, forcing a smile. As the shuttle maneuvered towards the sphere, a section of its shimmering surface seemed to liquefy, forming a perfect circular opening. The shuttle glided through, and Samantha gasped as she entered a world beyond her wildest imagination. The interior of the sphere was a vast, impossibly geometric space. Platforms and walkways crisscrossed in 3 dimensions, defying traditional notions of up and down. Holographic displays flickered in and out of existence, showing star charts and complex equations that made Samantha's head spin. And there, waiting for her, was the alien. It, for Samantha hesitated to assign any human concept of gender, stood nearly 3 meters tall. Its body seemed to be composed of overlapping plates of the material that shifted colors like oil on water. Multiple limbs, far more than any terrestrial life form, moved with hypnotic grace. Where a head should be, a cluster of sensory organs pulsed gently. Greetings, representative of Earth, a voice echoed in Samantha's mind. We are the collective, and we welcome you to the Galactic Conclave. Samantha swallowed hard, remembering her training. She bowed slightly, hoping the gesture would be understood as one of respect. On behalf of humanity, I thank you for this opportunity, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. The alien, the member of the collective, gestured with several limbs, and suddenly the space around them transformed. Samantha found herself standing in what appeared to be a vast amphitheater, filled with holographic representations of countless alien species. Behold, the collective's voice resonated, the current members of the Galactic Conclave. For eons, we have maintained peace and balance among the spacefaring races of this sector. And now, humanity stands on the threshold of joining our ranks. As Samantha's eyes darted from one alien form to another, trying to take in the dizzying array of life before her, the collective continued. But membership in the Conclave is not granted lightly. Each race must prove its worth, its ability to contribute to the greater good of the galaxy. A chill ran down Samantha's spine. And how exactly does humanity prove its worth? She asked cautiously. The amphitheater shimmered and changed again. Now Samantha stood before a massive, 3-dimensional star map. A small blue dot pulsed at its center, Earth. Your solar system lies at a critical juncture, the collective explained. A nexus of spatial currents that could tip the balance of power in this sector. For millennia, we have kept this region neutral, preventing any one faction from gaining too much influence. Samantha's scientific mind raced, trying to grasp the implications. You're saying Earth is strategically important. Precisely, the collective affirmed. And now you must choose. Will humanity align itself with the Conclave, helping to maintain the delicate balance we have achieved? Or will you side with other interests? As if on cue, a new presence made itself known. A dark, roiling mass coalesced at the edge of the star map, its form constantly shifting and churning. Ah! The collective's mental voice took on a note of what Samantha could only interpret as disdain. The Void Collective makes its presence known. They too have taken an interest in your world. Samantha's mind reeled. In the span of a few minutes, she had gone from representing humanity in its first extraterrestrial contact to being a pawn in some vast, cosmic chess game. I don't have the authority to make such a monumental decision on behalf of my entire species, Samantha stammered. The collective's sensory cluster pulsed rapidly. You misunderstand, Dr. Chen. The choice has already been made. By stepping into this sphere, by engaging in dialogue with us, humanity has already cast its lot with the conclave. The question now is whether you can prove yourselves worthy of that trust. Back on Earth, the nations of the world waited with bated breath for news from their envoy. In capitals across the globe, leaders huddled with their advisors, trying to prepare for any possible outcome. In Beijing, Premier Lai Xinyi paced in her office, her usually calm demeanor shaken. If Dr. Chen fails, if these aliens decide we're not worthy, what then? Do we face annihilation? Subjugation? Her military advisor, General Wu, stood rigidly at attention. Madam Premier, I can assure you that our armed forces stand ready to defend our nation and our planet, no matter the threat. Lai stopped pacing and fixed the general with a steely gaze. And how exactly do you propose to fight an enemy that can teleport entire structures into our solar system at will? No, if we're to survive this, we need to think beyond military solutions. In Moscow, President Volkov convened an emergency meeting of his top scientists and engineers. Comrades, he addressed the assembled group, his voice gruff with urgency. Our future depends on innovation now more than ever. I want every experimental project, every theoretical technology we've been sitting on, fast-tracked immediately. If these aliens want to see humanity's worth, we'll show them the full extent of Russian ingenuity. And in a secret facility beneath the streets of Tokyo, a team of Japan's most brilliant minds worked feverishly on a project that could tip the scales in humanity's favor. Dr. Hideo Tanaka, the lead researcher, stared at the pulsing energy contained within a reinforced chamber. We're pushing the boundaries of quantum entanglement, he explained to the government observer. If we can perfect this technology, we might be able to communicate instantaneously across vast distances, maybe even manipulate space-time itself. The observer nodded, her expression grave. And if we can't? Tanaka's face fell. Then we'd better hope Dr. Chen is one hell of a negotiator. As nations scrambled to prove their technological prowess, a different kind of preparation was taking place in the world's great spiritual centers. In Vatican City, Pope Francis led a global prayer vigil, calling for wisdom and compassion in humanity's dealings with their cosmic neighbors. In Mecca, Islamic scholars debated the theological implications of extraterrestrial life. And in the monasteries of Tibet, Buddhist monks meditated on the interconnectedness of all beings, now expanded to a galactic scale. But not everyone on Earth welcomed the prospect of joining a galactic community. In the shadows, various groups saw opportunity in the chaos. Deep in the Amazon rainforest, a cabal of eco-extremists saw the alien arrival as a chance to reset humanity's relationship with nature. These beings have mastered interstellar travel, their leader proclaimed to his followers. Surely they've learned to live in harmony with their environment. We must seize this moment to purge the cancer of industrialization from our world. In the forgotten bunkers of the Nevada desert, a doomsday cult that had long predicted alien invasion now grappled with the reality of peaceful contact. Their prophet, a charismatic figure known only as the Stargazer, rallied his disciples. The aliens speak of tests and proving our worth, he intoned, his eyes blazing with fervor. But do not be deceived. This is the final tribulation, and only the chosen few will survive. And in the digital realm, A loose collective of hackers and cyber activists launched a coordinated campaign to breach the security protocols surrounding humanity's new alien embassy. Their manifesto, spread through encrypted channels, was clear. No single government or institution has the right to speak for all of humanity. We demand transparency in all dealings with extraterrestrial entities. The future of our species is too important to be decided behind closed doors. As these various factions maneuvered and plotted, Dr. Samantha Chen faced her own challenges light years away. The collective sensory cluster pulsed with what Samantha was beginning to recognize as curiosity. "You seem troubled, Dr. Chen. Do you doubt humanity's ability to meet our standards?" Samantha chose her words carefully. "It's not that. It's just, you speak of humanity as if we're a single, unified entity. But our strength, our potential, comes from our diversity. We don't always agree, we don't always cooperate, but it's from that friction that our greatest achievements are born." The alien being was silent for a moment, processing this information. Then, to Samantha's surprise, it emitted a series of rapid color changes that she instinctively understood as laughter. "Oh, Dr. Chen." The collective's mental voice resonated with amusement. "Did you think the Galactic Conclave was a monolith of perfect harmony? That we do not have our own conflicts, our own competing interests?" The holographic amphitheater shimmered back into existence around them, but this time Samantha could sense undercurrents of tension between different alien factions. Alliances and rivalries played out in subtle gestures and frequencies beyond human perception. "The true test," the collective continued, "is not whether humanity can act as one perfect unit. It is whether you can navigate the complex web of galactic politics while maintaining your own unique identity. Can you forge alliances without losing yourselves? Can you compete without resorting to destruction? These are the challenges that await you." Samantha's mind raced with the implications. She had come prepared to showcase humanity's scientific and cultural achievements. Instead, she was being asked to play a game of interstellar diplomacy with rules she barely understood. But as she looked out at the assembled representatives of countless alien civilizations, a spark of hope ignited in her chest. Humanity had been grappling with these very questions throughout its history. The struggles to balance unity and diversity, cooperation and competition, were encoded in the very fabric of human society. "We accept your challenge," Samantha declared, her voice ringing out across the impossible space. "Humanity stands ready to take its place among the stars." As soon as the words left her mouth, Samantha felt a shift in the energy of the chamber. The holographic aliens flickered and changed, taking on aspects that seemed almost approving. The collective's form rippled with what Samantha now recognized as satisfaction. "Then let the trials begin. You will be tested in ways you cannot imagine, Dr. Chen. The fate of your species hangs in the balance. Are you prepared?" Samantha took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. In that moment, she carried the hopes and dreams of billions. "We are ready," she said firmly. "Bring on your trials." As the alien embassy began to hum with newfound energy, preparing for humanity's great test, Samantha couldn't help but wonder what challenges awaited her people in the vast cosmic chess game they had just entered. And more importantly, did humanity have what it took to not just survive, but thrive among the stars? The game was afoot, and Earth's first move had been made. Now, all they could do was play on, and hope that the ingenuity, resilience, and spirit that had carried humanity from caves to the cusp of interstellar civilization would be enough to secure their place in the grand tapestry of the cosmos. Operation Trojan Horse. The United Nations Security Council chamber buzzed with tension as Dr. Samantha Chen concluded her report. The holographic display flickered off, leaving the world leaders to grapple with the magnitude of what they had just learned. "So," UN Secretary General Adebayo began, his voice grave, "we find ourselves not just joining an interstellar community, but thrust into the middle of a complex political landscape." President Rice of the United States leaned forward. "Dr. Chen, you mentioned trials. What exactly are we up against?" Samantha took a deep breath. The collective wasn't specific, but they made it clear that we'll be tested on multiple fronts: scientific, cultural, and diplomatic. They want to see if we can adapt to galactic society without losing our unique identity. Premier Lai of China frowned. And what of this Void Collective? Are they a threat? Potentially, Samantha admitted. The Galactic Conclave seems to view them as a rival faction. I got the impression that our solar system's strategic location makes us a valuable ally, or a dangerous wild card. The room erupted in heated discussion. Some leaders advocated for full cooperation with the Conclave, while others urged caution and a more neutral stance. As the debate raged, a quiet voice cut through the chaos. What if we could turn this situation to our advantage? All eyes turned to Zara Okafor, the young physicist from CERN, who had been invited to join the emergency session. She stood, her eyes bright with an idea that bordered on the impossible. The collective expects us to play by their rules, to dance to their tune, Zora continued. But what if we could change the game entirely? General Hawthorne scoffed. And how do you propose we do that, Dr. Okafor? We're talking about civilizations thousands, maybe millions of years ahead of us technologically. Zara smiled. With a Trojan horse, General, one that combines our most advanced technology with our greatest strength, human ingenuity. As Zara outlined her audacious plan, a mix of disbelief and excitement spread through the chamber. It was dangerous, possibly suicidal. But if it worked? Secretary General Adebayo raised his hand for silence. Dr. Okafor, you're proposing we deceive a galactic superpower. The risks are enormous. So are the potential rewards, Zara countered. If we succeed, we won't just pass their tests. We'll rewrite the rules of the game. After hours of intense debate, a consensus was reached. Operation Trojan Horse was given the green light. In the weeks that followed, the nations of Earth worked together with unprecedented cooperation. The International Space Station was transformed into a hub of feverish activity, as scientists and engineers from around the world pooled their knowledge and resources. Dr. Hideo Tanaka's quantum entanglement experiments formed the core of the plan. Teams worked around the clock to miniaturize the technology, pushing the boundaries of what was thought possible. Meanwhile, military strategists and cultural anthropologists collaborated on an equally crucial aspect of the mission: understanding and exploiting the complex dynamics of galactic politics. As the deadline for the first trial approached, Dr. Chen found herself back on the shuttle, heading once more to the alien sphere. But this time, she wasn't alone. Zara Okafor sat beside her, outwardly calm but with a glint of nervous excitement in her eyes. In her hands, she held a small, unassuming device, the culmination of humanity's desperate gambit. Are you sure about this? Samantha asked quietly. Zara nodded. It's our best shot. Just remember, no matter what happens in there, stick to the plan. As they docked with the alien structure, both women took a deep breath. The fate of humanity rested on what happened next. The interior of the sphere seemed to have reconfigured itself since Samantha's last visit. Now they stood in what appeared to be a vast arena, with tiered seating stretching up into impossible geometries. Representatives of countless alien species filled the stands, their attention focused on the central platform where Samantha and Zara now stood. The familiar form of the collective materialized before them. Welcome, humans. The mental voice resonated. Are you prepared for your first trial? Samantha stepped forward, hoping her nervousness wasn't visible. We are, she declared. Humanity stands ready to prove its worth to the Galactic Conclave. A shimmering field appeared around the platform, cutting them off from the rest of the arena. The collective's form rippled with what might have been anticipation. Your first challenge is one of adaptation, it announced. We will subject you to a series of rapidly changing environments. Your task is to survive and thrive in each, demonstrating your species' ability to adapt to the diverse conditions found throughout the galaxy. Before Samantha could respond, the world around them shifted. Suddenly, they were standing on a planet of crushing gravity. the air thick with noxious gases. Samantha felt her lungs burning, her body straining against the immense pressure. But Zara was already in motion. She activated the device she'd brought, and a shimmering field enveloped both of them. Instantly, the pressure eased, and they could breathe normally. The collective's surprise was palpable. Interesting, it mused. You've developed personal force field technology. Among other things, Zara replied with a grin. The environment shifted again, this time to a world of extreme cold, with methane oceans and ice volcanoes. Once more, the human device adapted, protecting them from the harsh conditions. As the trials continued, each more challenging than the last, Samantha and Zara worked in perfect sync. The quantum-entangled device not only shielded them but seemed to anticipate each change, adjusting its protection in advance. In the stands, the alien observers buzzed with a mixture of surprise and growing respect. This was not the primitive species they had expected. Finally, after what felt like hours of continual adaptation, the trials came to an end. The arena reappeared around them, and the collective's form pulsed with what Samantha was beginning to recognize as approval. "Impressive," it declared. "You have surpassed our expectations. But tell us, how did you achieve such rapid adaptation? Surely your species has not mastered trans-dimensional engineering." This was the moment they had prepared for. Zara stepped forward, holding up the device. "This is the Nexus Core," she explained, her voice steady. "It's a quantum-entangled supercomputer, capable of processing and adapting to new information at speeds beyond anything we've achieved before." The collective's sensory cluster focused intently on the device. "Fascinating. And you developed this technology independently?" "We did," Samantha interjected smoothly. "It's a product of humanity's greatest minds, working together towards a common goal." The lie hung in the air, a dangerous gamble. In truth, the device's incredible abilities were the result of carefully hidden Trojan horse programming. By allowing it to interface with the alien steer systems during the trials, they had surreptitiously gathered vast amounts of data on advanced alien technologies. For a tense moment, Samantha feared they had overplayed their hand. But then the collective's form rippled with what could only be described as excitement. "This is indeed a significant achievement," it proclaimed. "The Galactic Conclave recognizes and applauds humanity's ingenuity. You have passed the first trial with distinction." A cheer went up from some of the alien observers, while others chittered in what might have been suspicion or disbelief. Samantha and Zara exchanged a quick glance. Phase 1 of Operation Trojan Horse had been a success, but their relief was short-lived. As the force field around the platform dissipated, a new presence made itself known. A roiling mass of darkness materialized at the edge of the arena, its form seeming to devour the light around it. "The Void Collective," Samantha whispered, a chill running down her spine. "Your tricks impress the gullible humans," a voice like the death of stars grated in their minds. "But we see through your deceptions. You play a dangerous game, meddling with forces beyond your comprehension." The Galactic Conclave's collective moved protectively in front of Samantha and Zara. "The humans are under our protection," it declared. "You have no authority here, Void Dwellers." The dark mass churned angrily. "This is not over," it hissed. "The humans have drawn our attention. We will be watching." With that ominous proclamation, the Void Collective vanished as suddenly as it had appeared. In the stunned silence that followed, Samantha's mind raced. They had passed the first trial, but at what cost? Had their deception been truly undetected, or had they just made a powerful enemy? The collective turned back to them, its colors swirling with concern. "You must understand," it said gravely, "that by aligning with the Conclave, you have also inherited our conflicts. The Void Collective is a dangerous adversary." Zara clutched the Nexus Core tightly. "We're prepared to face whatever challenges come our way," she said, her voice stronger than she felt. Samantha nodded in agreement. Humanity has always thrived in the face of adversity. We won't back down now. As they were escorted back to their shuttle, Both women felt the weight of their actions settling on their shoulders. They had come seeking to level the playing field, to give humanity a fighting chance in a universe of ancient and powerful civilizations. But had they instead placed Earth in the crosshairs of a cosmic conflict beyond their understanding? Back on Earth, the news of their success in the first trial was met with celebration and relief. But in secure bunkers and hidden laboratories, the real work was just beginning. Teams of scientists and engineers pored over the flood of data stolen by the Nexus core, marveling at the advanced concepts and technologies now at their fingertips. Quantum physicists debated the implications of trans-dimensional engineering, while material scientists salivated over the possibilities of exotic matter manipulation. In the Pentagon, military strategists war-game scenarios involving the Void Collective, trying to anticipate the moves of an enemy they barely understood. And in a secret facility beneath the Antarctic ice, a new project was taking shape. If the Nexus core represented humanity's defense against cosmic threats, this would be their offense, a weapon of last resort, built from the stolen knowledge of 1 million alien worlds. As Dr. Chen and Dr. Okafor delivered their full report to the UN Security Council, the gravity of the situation became clear to all. Humanity had taken its first bold steps onto the galactic stage, but the real challenges were just beginning. The cosmic chess game had entered a new phase, with Earth as both player and prize. And as the pieces maneuvered in the dark spaces between the stars, one question loomed large in the minds of those who knew the truth. In their desperation to survive, had humanity inadvertently sown the seeds of its own destruction? The battle for Sol. The klaxons blared through the corridors of the International Space Station, now the nerve center of Earth's fledgling interstellar defense network. Colonel Sarah Jong sprinted towards the command module, her heart pounding in zero gravity. Status report. She barked as she entered, strapping herself into the command chair. Her second-in-command, Major Dmitry Volkov, looked up from his console, his face ashen. Multiple unknown objects just appeared at the edge of the solar system. Colonel, they're moving fast. Really fast. Zong's blood ran cold. They had trained for this, prepared for this, but deep down, she had hoped this day would never come. Alert all Earth defense stations, she ordered, and get me a direct line to the Security Council. As the ISS burst into frantic activity, the rest of the solar system held its breath. On Mars, the fledgling colony ceased all operations, its inhabitants huddled around communications arrays. The mining stations on the moons of Jupiter and Saturn went into lockdown, their crews watching the distant specks of light that heralded humanity's greatest challenge. Back on Earth, in the fortified bunker beneath the United Nations, the Security Council convened an emergency session. The holographic displays showed the incoming fleet, a roiling mass of darkness that seemed to devour the very starlight around it. The Void Collective, President Reyes breathed, her face grim. They've made their move. Dr. Samantha Chen, now Earth's chief xenodiplomat, stepped forward. We need to contact the Galactic Conclave immediately. They promised us protection. We can't rely on alien promises. General Hawthorne interrupted. We need to activate the Hellfire Protocol. A hush fell over the room. The Hellfire Protocol was Earth's last resort. A weapon of terrifying power, reverse-engineered from the alien technology they had surreptitiously acquired. Its existence was known only to a select few. Secretary General Adebayo raised his hand for silence. Before we take any drastic actions, we need more information. Dr. Okafor, what can you tell us about the approaching fleet? Zara Okafor, her eyes ringed with exhaustion from sleepless nights of preparation, manipulated the holographic display. Based on our analysis of the Nexus core data, these ships are unlike anything in the Galactic Conclave's arsenal. They're using some kind of phase shift technology that allows them to exist partially outside of normal space-time. Meaning our conventional weapons will be useless, Hawthorne growled. Not necessarily, Zora countered. We've been working on countermeasures. The quantum entanglement fields we developed might be able to force them fully into our reality, making them vulnerable. President Reyes leaned forward. And the Hellfire Protocol? Zara hesitated. It should work, but the consequences of using it could be catastrophic. We're talking about tearing open the fabric of space-time itself. As the leaders debated their options, the Void Collective fleet drew ever closer. On the moon, at the newly constructed Artemis base, a team of scientists and soldiers prepared Earth's first line of defense. Dr. Hideo Tanaka made a final adjustment to the massive array of quantum entanglement generators. This has to work, he muttered to himself. Everything depends on it. Beside him, Captain Aisha Mbiki checked her exosuit's systems one last time. If it doesn't dock, we're here to make sure those bastards don't get any further. Tanaka managed a grim smile. Humanity's best minds and bravest souls united in the face of cosmic peril. Whatever happened next, he was proud to stand with them. In high Earth orbit, Colonel Jong coordinated the planet's defenses. A ragtag fleet of hastily upgraded satellites, repurposed spacecraft, and experimental weapons platforms stood ready to face an enemy they barely understood. All stations, report in, Zhang commanded, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her gut. One by one, the defenders of Earth sounded off, from the quantum array on the moon to the retrofitted missile silos in Siberia, from the energy cannon hidden in the Amazon to the swarm of AI-controlled drones circling Mars. Humanity had mustered every resource at its disposal. As the Void Collective fleet entered the solar system proper, an eerie silence fell over the communications channels. The roiling mass of darkness resolved itself into distinct shapes, vast, geometric forms that hurt the eye to look upon, as if they existed in more dimensions than the human mind could process. In the UN bunker, the Security Council watched with bated breath. They're not slowing down, Hawthorne observed tensely. They're heading straight for Earth. Samantha clenched her fists. We have to try to communicate with them. Maybe we can. Her words were cut off as a new signal cut across all frequencies. A voice like the death of stars grated in the minds of every human in the solar system. Humanity. UAVMEDDLED in AFFAIRs. Beyond your comprehension. Your DCP and now. Surrender the NEXUSTCOR and PURIPARI for ASSAMILHIDON into the void. For a moment, stunned silence reigned. Then, from the ISS, Colonel Jong's voice rang out, clear and defiant. This is Colonel Sarah Jong of Earth. We will not surrender. We will not be assimilated. This is our home, and we will defend it. To the last person, to the last breath. Come and take it, if you can. With that declaration, the battle for Sol began in earnest. The Void Collective ships surged forward, reality warping around them. But as they approached the moon, Dr. Tanaka's quantum array sprang to life. Beams of coherent energy lanced out, enveloping the lead ships in a shimmering field. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, with a silent flash that lit up the lunar sky, the affected ships suddenly snapped fully into normal space. Conventional weapons fire from the Artemis base struck home, tearing into the alien vessels. A cheer went up from the defenders, but it was short-lived. The Void ships, though wounded, retaliated with weapons that defied description. Beams of absolute darkness lanced out, annihilating matter at a subatomic level. The lunar surface erupted in explosions of superheated regolith. We can hurt them, Tanaka shouted into his comm, but we need more power to affect the whole fleet. In Earth orbit, Zhang made a split-second decision. Divert all power from non-essential systems to the quantum generators, she ordered. We need to expand that field. As the battle raged around the moon, a smaller contingent of void ships broke off, making a beeline for Earth. They were met by the planet's hastily assembled defense fleet. Experimental fighters, piloted by the best Earth had to offer, engaged in dogfights that stretched the very limits of physics. AI-controlled drones swarmed the larger void vessels, sacrificing themselves in kamikaze runs that opened gaps in the alien defenses. But for every void ship they managed to damage or destroy, two more seemed to take its place. The defenders were being pushed back, overwhelmed by the sheer power and alienness of their enemy. In the UN bunker, the Security Council watched the unfolding catastrophe with mounting horror. "We're losing," Ray said, her voice hollow. "We need to evacuate." "No," Zara interrupted, her eyes blazing with sudden inspiration. "We can still win this, but I need direct access to the Nexus core." Hawthorne scoffed. "That's what they want. We can't risk." "It's our only chance," Zara insisted. "I think I know how to use it to amplify the quantum field. We can trap their entire fleet, make them vulnerable." Secretary General Adebayo studied her for a long moment, then nodded. "Do it. But if this fails, if they get their hands on the core—" "I know," Zora said grimly. "That's why I'm going to deliver it personally." Before anyone could object, she was gone, racing towards the secret facility where the Nexus core was kept. As Earth's defenses crumbled and the Void fleet pressed its advantage, a single shuttle blasted off from a hidden launch pad. Inside, Zara clutched the Nexus core, her mind racing through calculations and possibilities. "ISS, this is Dr. Okafor," she radioed. "I'm incoming with a package that might turn the tide. I need an escort to the lunar quantum array." Colonel Zhang's reply was immediate. "Copy that, Doctor. Sending escort now. Godspeed." As Zora's shuttle raced towards the moon, flanked by Earth's best pilots, the battle reached a fever pitch. The Void Collective, sensing victory within its grasp, unleashed the full fury of its otherworldly weaponry. Cities across Earth's surface went dark as energy weapons lanced down from orbit, overwhelming power grids and defense systems alike. The seas boiled where Void torpedoes struck, creating storms that ravaged coastlines. In low Earth orbit, the ISS shuddered under repeated attacks. "Hull breach in sections 3 through 7, Major Volkov reported, his voice strained. "We can't take much more of this, Colonel." Zhang gritted her teeth. "We hold the line, Major. Earth is counting on us. We just need to buy Dr. Okafor a little more time." As if in answer to her words, a new signal cut through the chaos of battle. The familiar mental voice of the Galactic Conclave's collective resonated across all frequencies. "Stand firm, humanity. You do not fight alone." Suddenly, the space around Saturn shimmered and distorted. The massive portal tore open, and through it poured the ships of the Galactic Conclave, an armada of impossible geometries and radiant energies. The Void Collective's advance faltered as it found itself caught between Earth's desperate defense and the Conclave's overwhelming power. But Zara knew the battle was far from over. As her shuttle approached the lunar surface, narrowly avoiding the furious exchange of fire, she steeled herself for what came next. The quantum array stood like a beacon of hope amidst the lunar devastation. Zara docked her shuttle and sprinted towards the facility, the Nexus core clutched tightly to her chest. Inside, she found Dr. Tanaka and his team, battered but unbowed. "Dr. Okafor," Tanaka exclaimed. "Please tell me you have good news." Zara managed a grim smile as she connected the Nexus core to the array's main systems. "I have a plan," she said, "but it's risky as hell, and we only get one shot." As Zara explained her idea, Tanaka's eyes widened. That's insane," he breathed. "It might work, but the energy requirements. We'll burn out every system we have," Zara finished. "I know, but it's our only chance to end this, once and for all." Tanaka nodded, then turned to his team. "You heard the doctor. Let's make history, or die trying." As they worked feverishly to integrate the Nexus core with the quantum array, the battle above reached its climax. The combined forces of Earth and the Galactic Conclave had the Void Collective on the defensive, but the dark ships fought with the ferocity of cornered beasts. In near-Earth orbit, the ISS groaned under the strain of repeated attacks. "Colonel, Volkov called out. "We've lost stabilizers. We're going to lose orbit soon." Zhang looked at the tactical display, saw the void ships pressing their advantage. In that moment, she made a decision that would go down in history. "All hands, abandon station," she ordered, her voice calm. "Major Volkov, plot a collision course with the Void flagship. We're taking that bastard down with us." As escape pods jettisoned from the dying station, Zhang strapped herself into the command chair one last time. The ISS, humanity's first true home among the stars, became a massive projectile hurtling towards the heart of the enemy fleet. On the lunar surface, Zara and Tanaka's team worked with frantic intensity. The Nexus core hummed with power, its quantum circuits interfacing with the array in ways that defied conventional physics. "Energy levels are off the charts," one of the technicians reported, her voice a mixture of awe and fear. "If we go through with this, we're talking about a quantum event on a solar system scale." Zara nodded grimly. "The Void Collective wants to play with forces beyond normal spacetime. Let's give them more than they bargained for." With a final look at her team, at the brave souls who had fought and died to give them this chance, Zara took a deep breath and initiated the sequence. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, with a silent flash that outshone the sun, a quantum field expanded from the lunar array at impossible speed. It engulfed the battling fleets, the planets, the entire solar system in the blink of an eye. Reality itself seemed to hiccup. Every ship, every weapon, every bit of matter caught in the field suddenly snapped into a single, unified frame of reference. The Void Collective's phase shift advantage was neutralized in an instant, and in that moment of vulnerability, the combined firepower of Earth and the Galactic Conclave struck home. Void ships crumbled under the onslaught, their otherworldly defenses useless against weapons now operating on the same fundamental laws of physics. The flagship, already crippled by the ISS's sacrificial charge, erupted in a silent explosion that rippled through higher dimensions. As quickly as it had begun, the battle was over. The remaining void ships, cut off from whatever dark realm had granted them their power, fled into the depths of space. In the aftermath, as the quantum field dissipated and the solar system slowly returned to normal, the true cost of victory became clear. The moon's surface was forever changed, pockmarked with craters and glassy expanses where exotic weapons had struck. Earth's orbits were choked with debris, the remnants of sacrificed satellites and shattered ships. But Earth itself, against all odds, had survived. As the Galactic Conclave's ships moved in to assist with rescue and recovery efforts, the leaders of humanity emerged from their bunkers to face a new dawn. Earth had proven itself on the galactic stage, but at a terrible price. And as Zara Okafor stood on the lunar surface, watching the Earth rise over a horizon forever changed by war, she couldn't help but wonder. In the vast cosmic game they had been thrust into, was this victory just the opening move? The battle for Sol was over. Humanity had survived its trial by fire. But as the stars flickered overhead, pregnant with new possibilities and unseen dangers, one thing was certain: their journey among the stars had only just begun. A new galactic order. The great hall of the Galactic Conclave hummed with an energy unlike anything in its ancient history. Representatives from 1,000 worlds shifted restlessly in their seats, appendages and sensory organs twitching with anticipation. At the center of it all stood a human woman, Dr. Samantha Chen, her poise belying the weight of the moment. "Esteemed members of the Conclave," Samantha began, her voice carried to every corner of the vast chamber by technologies beyond human understanding. "On behalf of Earth, I thank you for this opportunity to address you all." The collective's familiar form rippled at the head of the assembly. "Speak, Dr. Chen. The Conclave is eager to hear humanity's proposal." Samantha took a deep breath. Everything had led to this moment. In the wake of the Void Collective's attack on our system, and our joint victory over this threat, we believe the time has come for a fundamental restructuring of galactic society. A murmur rippled through the assembled aliens. Some leaned forward with interest, Others recoiled in shock. Samantha pressed on. For too long, the conclave has operated on principles of secrecy and limited intervention. This policy left us vulnerable to threats like the Void Collective. We propose a new paradigm, one of open exchange, mutual defense, and shared progress. As Samantha outlined humanity's vision for a more integrated and cooperative galaxy, the reactions among the conclave members ranged from enthusiasm to outrage. Some saw the potential for a new era of peace and advancement. Others feared the loss of their carefully guarded knowledge and autonomy. When she finished, the collective's form pulsed with what Samantha had come to recognize as deep contemplation. "Your proposal is unprecedented," it said at last. "It would require a fundamental shift in how the conclave has operated for millennia." "We understand the magnitude of what we're suggesting," Samantha replied. "But we believe the recent crisis has shown that the old ways are no longer sufficient. The galaxy is changing. We must change with it, or risk being left behind, or worse, destroyed." As the conclave erupted into debate, Samantha allowed herself a small smile. The seed had been planted. Whatever happened next, the galaxy would never be the same. Back on Earth, the process of rebuilding was well underway. The scars of the battle were still visible: shattered cities, wounded landscapes, debris-choked orbits. But alongside the destruction, new wonders were taking shape. In the ruins of what was once New York City, a gleaming tower of impossible architecture rose towards the sky. Alien alloys melded seamlessly with terrestrial materials, creating a structure that seemed to defy gravity. This would be the new United Nations headquarters, a symbol of Earth's new place in the galactic community. Dr. Zara Okafor stood at the base of the tower, marveling at the sight. Beside her, Dr. Hideo Tanaka shook his head in wonder. "When I was a boy, I dreamed of building rockets," Tanaka mused. "Now we're constructing buildings with technology I can barely comprehend." Zara nodded, her expression a mix of awe and concern. "It's incredible, isn't it? But I can't help wondering if we're moving too fast. Are we ready for all of this?" Before Tanaka could respond, they were interrupted by the arrival of General Hawthorne. The old soldier looked out of place amidst the futuristic construction, but his eyes gleamed with purpose. "Dr. Okafor, Dr. Tanaka," he greeted them. "Walk with me, please. There's something you need to see." He led them to a secure elevator, hidden behind holograms and force fields. As they descended deep beneath the city, Hawthorne spoke in hushed tones. "What I'm about to show you is classified at the highest levels. But given your roles in the battle, and what's coming next, the Security Council believes you need to be brought into the loop." The elevator doors opened, revealing a vast underground complex humming with activity. Scientists and soldiers moved purposefully among banks of advanced computers and strange, pulsating machines. "Welcome," Hawthorne said grimly, "to Project Prometheus." As they toured the facility, the true scope of the project became clear. Humanity was not just adapting alien technology. They were pushing it to new limits, combining it with human ingenuity in ways that even the Galactic Conclave hadn't imagined. "This," Hawthorne explained, gesturing to a massive ring-shaped device, "is a prototype for an FTL drive that doesn't rely on existing space-time corridors. If it works, we'll be able to go anywhere in the galaxy, maybe even beyond, without being constrained by the Conclave's navigation protocols." Zara's mind reeled at the implications, but the energy requirements for something like that are being addressed here, Tanaka finished, pointing to another section of the lab. "My God, is that? Are you trying to create a sustainable artificial singularity?" Hawthorne nodded. "Among other things, we're exploring every option, pushing every boundary. The Void Collective may be defeated, but they're not destroyed. And there may be other threats out there that we don't even know about yet." As they continued their tour, Zara felt a growing unease. The technology they were developing here was incredible, potentially revolutionary. But in the wrong hands. "General," she said carefully, "this is all fascinating. But why are you showing us this? What's really going on? Hawthorne's expression turned grave. Because, Doctor, we need your help. Both of you. What we're doing here isn't just about defense or technological advancement. It's about securing humanity's place in the galaxy, no matter what happens with the Conclave. The implications hung heavy in the air. Earth was hedging its bets, preparing for a future where they might need to stand alone against the cosmos. As Zara and Tanaka grappled with this new reality, events were unfolding across the galaxy that would shape the course of history. On a remote world at the edge of known space, a lone Void collective ship drifted in orbit. Its dark hull, once a terror to behold, now bore the scars of desperate flight. Inside, the last survivors of the invasion force communed in the shadows. The humans, one voice hissed, a sound like dying stars. They are more dangerous than we anticipated. They have upset the balance, another agreed. The Conclave grows bold, speaks of change. A third voice, deeper and more resonant than the others, cut through the darkness. Then we must adapt, evolve. The Void is eternal, but its servants must change to survive. As the Void survivors plotted their next move, a very different meeting was taking place in the heart of Conclave space. The collective's form shimmered with barely contained excitement as it addressed a select group of the galaxy's most influential beings. The humans have shown us a new path, it declared. Their victory over the Void, their willingness to challenge our most fundamental assumptions, these are the catalysts we have awaited for eons. A being of pure energy pulsed with skepticism. You cannot be serious. They are children, barely out of their stellar cradle. Children who defeated a threat that has plagued us for millennia. A multi-limbed creature countered. Perhaps it is time we listen to what they have to say. As the debate raged, the collective's attention was drawn to a quiet figure at the edge of the gathering. The alien's form was unfamiliar, its presence unexpected. You have been silent, observer, the collective noted. What is your opinion on this matter? The stranger stepped forward, its form rippling with an energy that set the collective's sensors buzzing. I believe, it said in a voice that seemed to echo from distant stars, that the galaxy stands at a crossroads. The humans have opened a door. What lies beyond is up to all of us. With those cryptic words, the stranger vanished, leaving the assembled leaders to wonder at its identity and its purpose. As the galaxy grappled with the aftermath of the Void invasion and humanity's subsequent proposal, Earth continued its rapid transformation. In universities and research labs around the world, human scientists worked alongside alien visitors, exchanging knowledge and pushing the boundaries of what was thought possible. New fields of study emerge: xenobiology, multidimensional physics, psychic energy manipulation, as humanity eagerly absorbed the cosmic wisdom now available to them. But with this influx of knowledge came new challenges. Ethical debates raged over the use of advanced medical techniques that could extend human lifespans indefinitely. Religious leaders grappled with the theological implications of a universe teeming with intelligent life. And governments struggled to adapt their laws and policies to a world where technology was advancing faster than society could keep up. In orbit, the construction of Earth's first true starport neared completion. A massive structure of gleaming metal and force fields, it would serve as humanity's gateway to the stars. Ships from across the galaxy now dock there regularly, bringing trade, diplomacy, and cultural exchange on an unprecedented scale. But not all of humanity embraced this new cosmic age with open arms. In hidden enclaves around the world, groups of isolationists and xenophobes plotted to purify Earth of alien influence. They saw the influx of extraterrestrial knowledge and culture as a threat to human identity and independence. One such group, calling themselves the Children of Terra, had gained a particularly strong following. Their leader, a charismatic figure known only as the Prophet, preached a doctrine of human supremacy and cosmic destiny. We were not meant to be one voice among many in a galactic chorus, the Prophet declared to his followers. Humanity is meant to lead, to dominate. The stars are our birthright, and we will claim them, by force if necessary. As these tensions simmered, Earth's leaders worked tirelessly to navigate the complex waters of galactic politics. The UN Security Council had been expanded into a truly global body, with representatives from every nation working together to present a unified human front to the cosmos. In a secure chamber deep within the new UN headquarters, President Reyes conferred with her counterparts from around the world. "The conclave is still debating our proposal," she informed them. "But we're gaining support. More and more species see the value in what we're offering." Premier Lai nodded thoughtfully. "And what of the dissenting voices? The isolationist movements?" Reyes sighed. "They're a concern, but we're monitoring the situation closely. We can't let fear and ignorance jeopardize everything we've worked for." As the leaders discussed strategies for moving forward, an urgent message came through from their representatives in conclave space. The debate had reached a critical point, and a decision was imminent. The fate of humanity's grand vision for a new galactic order hung in the balance. In the Great Hall of the Galactic Conclave, tension crackled like static electricity. After weeks of intense debate, the time had come for a vote. Dr. Samantha Chen stood at the center of it all, her heart pounding, but her expression serene. The collective's form pulsed with anticipation. "Members of the conclave, you have heard the arguments, weighed the evidence, and considered the implications. The time has come to decide. Will we embrace the human vision of a more open, integrated galaxy, or will we maintain our current course?" As the votes were tallied, Samantha held her breath. Everything they had fought for, everything they had sacrificed, came down to this moment. Finally, the collective spoke, by a margin narrow enough to remind us of the gravity of this decision, but wide enough to leave no doubt as to the will of the conclave. "The proposal is accepted. Let a new era of galactic cooperation begin." A cheer went up from the pro-human factions, while those opposed sat in stunned silence. Samantha allowed herself a small smile. They had done it. The door to a new future was open. But even as she basked in the triumph of the moment, a small voice in the back of her mind whispered a warning. They had changed the galaxy forever. And change, no matter how well-intentioned, always brought unforeseen consequences. As the news of the conclave's decision spread across the cosmos, reactions varied wildly. Some worlds celebrated, seeing a bright future of shared knowledge and mutual progress. Others fortified their borders, fearing a loss of autonomy and cultural identity. On Earth, the response was equally mixed. World leaders hailed it as a new chapter in human history, while isolationist groups decried it as the end of human independence. And in the vast, dark spaces between the stars, ancient powers stirred. The galaxy was changing, the cosmic game board reset. New players were taking their places, old alliances shifting like sand. As humanity stepped boldly into its new role on the galactic stage, one thing was certain: the adventure was only just beginning. The cosmos, vast and full of wonders, awaited. And Earth, no longer alone in the night sky, faced a future filled with unlimited potential and unimaginable challenges. The Terran Protocol, born of desperation and ingenuity, had reshaped the galaxy. Now it fell to the children of Earth to write the next chapter in the grand cosmic story. As Dr. Samantha Chen looked out at the assembled representatives of 1,000 worlds, she felt the weight of that responsibility. But she also felt hope, hope for a future where the best of humanity would shine among the stars. "My fellow citizens of the galaxy," she began, her voice ringing out across the chamber. "Today, we embark on a grand journey together. There will be challenges ahead, disagreements and conflicts to navigate. But if we stay true to the principles of mutual respect, shared knowledge, and collective progress, there is no limit to what we can achieve." As her words echoed through the Great Hall and across the cosmos, a new era dawned. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what wonders and what perils this bold experiment would bring. The Terran Protocol was more than just a diplomatic agreement or a technological breakthrough. It was a promise that the future would be forged not in isolation, but in cooperation, a promise that the greatest adventures, the most profound discoveries, lay not in conquering the cosmos, but in embracing it. As the assembled representatives of the galaxy rose in a standing ovation, that promise echoed across the stars. A new chapter in cosmic history had begun, with humanity holding the pen. The universe, vast and mysterious, awaited. And Earth, no longer a lonely blue marble in the cosmic ocean, stood ready to meet it, not as conquerors, but as explorers, diplomats, and fellow travelers on the grand journey of existence. The Terran Protocol had opened the door. Now it was up to humanity, and all the diverse beings of the galaxy, to step through it together into a future limited only by their collective imagination.